Hello, I'm Margot. I'm with the Career Center, and today I'm going to be telling you how to use Big Interview to improve your interview skills. Big Interview is a free resource for Valencia College students to practice their interview skills, and there are a lot of other really cool resources on their website about building a resume, negotiating salary, and really everything in between to help prepare you for your career. To access Big Interview, you're going to go to www.valenciacollege.biginterview.com. You can also access Big Interview from the Career Center website. When you get to Big Interview, in the top right-hand corner, there will be a button that says Register. Use your Atlas email to register for Big Interview. Remember, your Atlas email ends in @mail.valenciacollege.edu. When you get into Big Interview, you've created your account and you get to your dashboard. This is your main home page. You'll notice at the top of the page, there are different tabs. The ones we're going to focus on first are the practice and the assignments tabs. These are the ones that you will use mostly for doing your mock interviews in Big Interview. So, in talking about the practice tab, the first thing you can do is practice interviews. With the practice interview option, you can use different kinds of pre-made mock interviews for you to record yourself and be able to go back and watch yourself with those questions. And there are even different options for you when deciding what kind of mock interview you want to do. So you can do mock interviews that are general, some that are based on industry, some that are based on competency or skill set. So maybe this is you want to answer questions about leadership or about time management or responsibility. They have different competencies for you. There are also admissions interviews. So if there are different types of academic programs or schools that you're trying to get into, there are some admissions interviews which are different from job interviews. There are also government jobs. So federal and state jobs, you can do practice interviews for those, and then veterans interviews as well. So they have practice interviews for some of the fastest growing jobs for veterans available on the site. And in some categories, you can even choose if you want a standard, challenging, or tough questions for you as you're practicing with those interviews. The next thing you can do is something called interview roulette, which is basically you go on, say, interview roulette, and it automatically puts you into a pre-made randomized interview option. So this can really be any questions, but this is great if you are someone who is a little nervous about thinking on your feet or freezing in an interview. Maybe you're afraid they're going to ask you a question you don't know the answer to. Interview roulette is a good way to kind of get those creative juices flowing in your head so you feel confident answering pretty much any question. There's also the answer builder. So there are some questions we know that you're going to get asked. So things like, tell me about yourself, or why are you interested in this position? What about your strengths and weaknesses? These are things that you might get asked in any kind of interview. So you can actually prepare for those now. And they will help guide you in creating a thorough answer and give you an outline. So even if you're not remembering exactly the words you wanted to say, you have that outline you can follow and again, feel confident and comfortable in your interview. Finally, there's the question library. So this is for you if you just want to go on and look at any kind of question or just choose from any different area. Maybe you're a veteran, but you also want to look at accounting questions, but you also want to make sure that you're talking about a specific skill set. In this, you can pick just one question and practice for that question instead of having to do a mock interview. So really neat way for you to look at different kinds of questions within that question library. These are all the tools you can use under that practice section, and these are all for you. When you're done with a practice interview, you can actually email your recording to yourself. You can email it to an instructor. You can email it to the Career Center. You can even email it to anyone outside of Valencia. That's fine. For them to be able to go through and look at your mock interview and give you feedback on it. It's a really neat tool for you to be able to watch, see yourself. It can be a little uncomfortable, but it's better for you to know how you present to other people through a virtual interview space. Now, in the assignments tab, it looks like this. And so you'll see it has kind of an assignment code area. This is what it will look like. Now, the assignments is something assigned by an instructor or the Career Center. There are questions that are pre-planned for you based on a certain topic or assignment, and you may or may not get those questions ahead of time. So maybe, your instructor gives you the questions ahead of time to practice, maybe get assigned by the Career Center, and we just go into it because we know that you want to get that kind of feel of the real interview. It depends on the person, but they are assigned ahead of time. So you will need a code to access that particular interview. Since it's been created, it's not a template from the website. We've made it for you. So we want to make sure that you're able to access it. So you'll click that assignment code. Then the interview is reviewed. We score it by question, and you receive an email when your interview has been scored. And that way you can read the notes, read the feedback, and see how you did on your interview. To prepare for a virtual interview, there are some resources for you. So starting a big interview, remember how we talked about the practice tab and the assignments tab? Now we're going to talk about the learn tab. The learn tab has lots and lots of different resources for you. The ones that you want to focus on for interviewing are the fast track and the interview playbooks. The fast track is kind of 16 video lessons. It kind of gives you the career readiness 101 about feeling good and confident about interviews and other kind of career readiness skill sets. The interview playbooks, there are 170 video lessons available for you. So any question you might think of, any concern you might have about interviewing, they've probably covered it in one of those interview playbook videos, all available for you for free. And then at the bottom, there are also some videos about like getting started, system requirements, but if you're having trouble with the big interview site. But those ones for your interviewing skills are going to be really helpful for you in getting those lessons done. The Career Center website also has resources available for you. To find our website, you can go to the main Valencia page and type in Career Center, or visit valenciacollege.edu/career center. We're right there, and on our page, you'll see there are a lot of resources, a lot of things available for you. But we're going to focus today on the employment readiness box. So this one down here at the bottom with the blue circle, and you're going to click on Learn More to get the full list of resources for you related to that employment readiness. When you click on it, you'll see on the right-hand side, we have a little menu, so you can skip to areas that are most relevant for you. But we cover everything from before the interview to after the interview. We talk about your resume and cover letter, and again, the resources for veterans in the LGBTQ+ community as you're going to answer questions, search for jobs, making you feel ready for when you are going to pursue that employment. So that's what you can find on the Career Center website. Many, many things on there related to interviewing you can check on here. Some quick interview tips before we go. I want to talk about some do's and don'ts, especially when you're talking about virtual interviews. Have a clean, neutral background and good lighting. Try not to have any distracting sights or sounds. And if there's other people living in your household that might interrupt your interview, give them a heads up. Hey, I'm going to be busy recording an interview, or I'll be doing a live virtual interview for the next about half hour. Please don't knock on the door. Don't call me. Don't text me. I'm going to be really busy just during this time. Gives you the opportunity to feel confident that no one will interrupt you and no one will kind of distract from your content in the video. You also want to prepare some practice questions for yourself and record yourself to see how you look and sound. You can do this for free with Big Interview. If you're in a pinch, you can record yourself on your phone and read it back, but just to see what's the lighting look like, what's my background look like, how do I sound, is my audio working, all things you can do to practice. And make sure you familiarize yourself with the recording website or software that you're using. So if you're using Big Interview for the first time, play around with it, make sure that your audio and video is working so you don't have any issues with that on the other end. And if you do have issues, try not to show that frustration in the recording. Just answer the questions the best that you can. And if you really feel like your technical issues had some sort of big impact on your ability to do well, let the person know who gave you the interview so they can take that into account. Make sure that you read and listen to the question a few times and make sure that you answer all parts of the question. So you don't want to say, tell me about yourself and why you're interested in the job. And if you just do all the tell me about yourself and you don't tell me why you're interested, you missed half the question. So read and listen to the full question a few times and make sure you answer all the parts. Try to identify a skill being asked and highlight that in your response. And do ask questions in the interview. A lot of people will say at the end, nope, I don't have any questions. And that shows maybe that you're not as interested or maybe you didn't research, but I guarantee there's something you don't know about that job. So ask a question. For some of those don'ts, don't assume that your sound and video is working without checking. Make sure that you check it. If you have the opportunity, do a little test with your audio and video. to make sure those technical issues are taken care of. Don't provide an answer that's too long or too short. Generally, these recorded interviews will give you a time allotment for the question. So if it says you have 2 minutes to answer the question and you answer that question in 20 seconds, you probably didn't address the whole thing. So kind of use that time amount as a barometer for how long you should be using your time when answering the question. If it's 2 minutes and you're at 1 minute and 30 seconds and you feel like you could talk for another 5 minutes, try to wrap up that response in as much in a little bow as you can. So that way you can stay on task with it. You don't want the camera to cut you off. And try when you're asking those questions at the end, not to ask about things that would be covered by HR. Normally, these things are being reviewed by a hiring manager, and they wouldn't be able to answer things like, how much do I get paid, or how much time off do I have? So those are things that maybe could be saved later for negotiations or when you're meeting with an HR representative. So to contact us to do some of these mock interviews, to be able to get some feedback, on the main Career Center page, you saw that there's that Contact Us button. If you want to go directly to our contact form, it is forms.valenciacollege.edu/career-center-contact. Well, probably a little bit easier to just navigate there from our website. But when you do, you'll go to our contact form, fill out your name and email, phone number, your VID, your campus, and in the comments, be specific. If you want to do a mock interview and big interview for a paralegal job, if you want to do one for really anything that you're looking for, let us know what you want so we can best serve you. So be specific in those comments. It really helps us to assist you sooner. So that's what we have for interviewing today. Thank you so much for watching our video, and we look forward to seeing your big interview soon.